It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
You're watching the Eagle Community Television Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The show brought to you by Hayes Med and Eagle Communications, our community connected. And our guest this week is Detective Chuck White from the Ellis County Sheriff's Department. Chuck, thanks for coming in and talking to us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
I know a lot of people have seen you around. You've been with the Sheriff's Department for a couple of years, haven't you?
Going on 24 years.
Wow, a long
summer.
time. You've seen a lot of stuff happen in Ellis County. And I know that one of the initiatives we're going to talk about today is the, the National Take Back Prescription Drug Day. That's a long title.
That is. It's a worthwhile effort, though. It's a DEA-led initiative that allows people to dispose of their unwanted or expired prescription medicines.
Well, I know we'll talk about that more in the second half of the show, but let's get into some details here on this. I think it's a really good idea to get them out of the house. There's probably been a lot of times where people will go into houses, steal it, family members steal some of those drugs. A lot of times they're not even good after a certain date, and you've had a lot of examples where that's happened in the county.
That's correct, Mike. We've had a number of incidents where people have become addicted to certain drugs or overdosed on prescription drugs that weren't even prescribed to them. So what we're seeing is that, there are more Americans that abuse prescription drugs than those that use cocaine, heroin, certain hallucinogens like LSD, methamphetamine, inhalants combined. So it's Americans abuse prescription drugs at an alarmingly high rate. And we even see that here locally. We see people that take too much of the drug, they inject the drug when it's meant to be swallowed, things like that. So it's important we have a way for community members to dispose of the unwanted drugs.
You know, we see that on those programs on TV. We've all seen Cops for many, many years and all those things, but they do happen in our community. And it's dangerous, and it's something that we could prevent if we could just help out and kind of watch this. There's been a lot of them out there. Maybe you could talk about some of the ones that are being really abused in our community.
Well, there's all sorts of prescriptions that are being abused. The ones that come to mind, of course, are some of the amphetamine type drugs or the benzodiazepines such as Klonopin or Xanax. Those are highly suspected of being abused. Also the Adderall, which is prescribed for ADHD or narcolepsy, is abused. People will oftentimes just get them from family members or friends. Find them in the medicine cabinet or in the glove box of their parents' vehicles, sometimes at grandma's house, and they're taking these drugs without being prescribed them, without the benefit of being counseled by a doctor or pharmacist on how to use the drugs. So oftentimes they're just taking too much of the drugs, or they're taking a drug that is a rapid release or should be a time release, and they're taking it all at once, either by injecting it or smoking it.
And there's sometimes, I think you, before we went on the air, talked about it a little bit. I mean, there's ones where they're prescribed as a patch, and they're not even using it for that situation.
Yeah, the fentanyl patches are commonly prescribed for people with severe pain. It's a patch that has a sticky substance to it that applies to the skin, and it's a time release. Well, in a couple instances, we've been called along with an ambulance because the person has decided to roll up the patch and smoke it. It's very dangerous, usually fatal. It was fatal once in Ellis County that I know of. So we need a way for people to get rid of these drugs after they no longer need them.
I know you go to a lot of training and a lot of classes on this and see this, and you've probably seen some real horror stories from around the country, and maybe it hasn't happened here yet, and it's going to happen if people don't watch it and take care of this.
Well, that's true. I mean, we're not immune from what happens around the nation. We've actually, just since 2010 in Kansas, we've collected 44,000 pounds of prescription drugs. So when you think that each pill or capsule weighs less than a gram, that's a ton of medicine that's just being laying around the house and for the taking for those that want to abuse it. So.
Well, I appreciate what you're telling us so far, and I think there's a lot more we want to talk about, and we want to talk about this program because I think it's very important for people to know about it and maybe drop their meds off in a couple of sites, and we'll get to all that here in the second half of the show. Again, Detective Chuck White from the Ellis County Sheriff's Department, our guest today. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman, and this is The Forum, brought to you by Hayes Med and Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hayes Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.hayesmed.com.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
You're watching the Eagle Community Television Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. By the way, if you've got any comments or guest ideas, Gary would love to hear from you. You can email him direct at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. By the way, the show is brought to you by Hayes Med and Eagle Communications, our community connected. And we want to tell you that you can also look us up on Facebook. It's ECTV Forum on Facebook. Our guest today is Detective Chuck White. He is from the Ellis County Sheriff's Department. We're talking about, it's a long title, I have to look at my cheat sheet here, National Take Back Prescription Drug Day. Very good, you know it,
Yes.
You've got it memorized.
Yep.
So one of my first questions I want to ask you out of the gate here, how long has the Ellis County Sheriff's Department been associated with this program?
Well, the Sheriff's Department, in cooperation with the Hayes Police Department and the Ellis County Attorney's Office and the KBI, which forms the Ellis County Drug Enforcement Unit, has participated for 7 years. 2014 will be our 8th year of participating. Since 2007, we've participated with 2 sites per year, giving community members the opportunity to drop off medicines twice a year rather than just once a year. So it's been very worthwhile. Each time we hold a site, we tend to collect a little bit more meds than the previous time, so it's apparently a worthwhile community project.
Now, when people drop those off at the locations, we'll get to them here in a moment, is there like a Sheriff's Department deputy or a Police Department deputy that's present when they do this?
Yeah, the sites have to be manned by a certified law enforcement officer. We have to remain with the drugs the entire time, and then of course we take custody of the drugs at the end of at 2 p.m. when the initiative ends, and then we store it and get it to the DEA for disposal. So there will be a certified law enforcement officer at each site.
So what you're asking is, you're asking for residents of Ellis County just to look through their house, try to find old prescription drugs or outdated drugs or ones they're not using anymore because maybe they had just some kind of a virus in the last year or something and they're not using it anymore. Put those aside maybe in a bag or something and then drop them off at one of these locations? That's
correct. Simple as that. It's totally free and anonymous, and that's all we ask anybody to do is go through their house, through their vehicle, ask their neighbors, collect any unwanted or expired drugs or any drugs that are no longer needed, and bring those to the site between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on that day, and we'll take them from you.
I know you said 10 to 2. Is it 10 to 2 on that day?
It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
2 p.m. So what's the experience when they come in? Now you've got 2 locations. They just walk up to the door. They'll look for the officer, and then do they have to fill out any paperwork or any of that?
Absolutely not. It's totally anonymous service. We hold the sites outdoors so that they can just drive up, drop their prescription drugs into a box or a container that we have, and then they can leave. We don't ask names, we don't look at IDs, anything like that. We don't care where the drugs came from or who they belong to. If they're not wanted any longer, we'll take them.
So it's just like a drive-up window, really.
Exactly.
And you help them out, so they don't even really have to get out of the car if they don't want.
That's right.
Okay.
We make it as convenient as we possibly can.
Very good. Now, the two sites, I know that you have kind of a new site this year. Let's talk about those sites real quick.
Okay, the first site again will be in the north parking lot of the Law Enforcement Center. That's located at 13th and Main Street here in Hayes. And then the second site will be at the Good Samaritan Center at 27th and Canal. They have a circular front driveway, which should be real handy for people just to drive in, drop off their drugs, and then exit. It is a one-way street going north, so just enter off 27th Street. And we'll have officers manning that site as well. So hopefully the weather will be good. We'll do it no matter what, and we will be available from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 26th.
Okay, so that's coming up here real soon. If they do come, just drop it off and just good to go from there, right?
Yeah. What we ask is people can drop off pills, capsules, tablets, liquids in a container with a lid, please. The only things we cannot take are inhalers and needles.
So now, real quick, there is one of these locations is a new location this year, isn't it?
That's correct.
The Good Samaritan Center.
The Good Samaritan Society has a community project that they wanted to help with, and so they are lending us their driveway, and they will have a person to help stand and guide people in and direct them out of the parking lot. Should be plenty of room for the regular visits for your family members at the Good Samaritan Society, and to set up our site in the front driveway. So
it's a good place to go to. It makes it a nice drop-off location.
That's right, and it's on the north side of town, so we want to provide those people up north a more convenient, easier drop-off site.
Very good. Let's talk about it real quick. The National Take Back Prescription Drug Day, April 26th, and again, it's from 10 until 2. Just drop them off. Real easy for you to do. It's very painless, right?
Very painless.
Okay. Thank you for coming. And is there anything else you want to add to it?
No, we just very much appreciate the community members helping with this project. It's very unique and meaningful to a lot of people, and they tell us that they appreciate us manning these sites, so we'll continue to do it.
So look through your house, see if you can find any, or even, as Chuck mentioned, talk to some of your neighbors and maybe help them out a little bit, and get all those drugs together and drop them off at those locations. 10 to 2, again, is Saturday the 26th. And again, that's the National Take Back Prescription Drug Day, April 26th. I want to thank Detective Chuck White with the Ellis County Sheriff's Department for being our guest today. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman. This is The Forum, brought to you by Hayes Med and Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hayes Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.hayesmed.com.